Okay, hello. I'm pretty sure most of you at some point of your life were like overwhelmed by the amount of the alerts you received. And my name is Pavel and I will talk a little bit about how to improve your on-call health. So there are so many monitoring systems around, but I won't be talking about any particular one because it just doesn't worth it. Instead, I will talk about how to improve your on-call health by applying a systematic approach. And if you are like getting woken up at night, finding yourself in the morning, going through all the notifications and ignoring most of them, you have to work on your on-call health. And the problem is you have to first convince your team and your manager to do the same. And they might not want to agree with you because this work is not really interesting and not as exciting as it might be, so they better work on their own projects. And how do you convince them then? So on the next slide is the example of the back-of-the-envelope calculations I made for one of the teams I worked at. So 50 hours a month is a crazy amount of time wasted. So yeah, so even the most stubborn engineer will be convinced by data like that. So now you want to prepare your data, and ideally your data is stored some like historical alert data is stored in some MapReduce cluster, and you can run complicated queries like this one over this data. And now you have it, you basically want to identify the issues that are most impactful to fix. Here's an example. So on the right is aggregated data with the like top offenders highlighted. And yeah, now you want to basically take those top offenders and organize a regular process to triage those alerts. So yeah, people basically can start working on that. And by triaging, I mean like identifying the root cause of this problem and the possible way to fix it. It can be just a few line fix, or it can be a separate big project. This is one way to think about that. But there are actually other approaches, possible approaches here. Like, first of all, you should consider if you need this alert at all. Like, for example, if the alert has been created ages ago and nobody just cared to reassess its necessity. Or for some alerts, you may want to create automatic remediations. Like if you run the same script over and over again, you might just want to run the script automatically and let the robots run it for you instead. Other thing to consider is like some alerts don't quite fit the traditional monitoring, like for example, load balancing, traffic distribution. So only human can tell if something is wrong on the graph like this. There are some machine learning models for that out there, but I have never seen a correctly working one. So yeah, anyway, and another possible approach is to look at the trend instead of the current data, like this example, like instead of looking at the current disk usage, look at the trend and raise a warning if it's going to run out of space soon. And yeah, maybe you want to consider like adding dependencies to your monitoring. So the simplest example, again, is like if your region is down, then all the services there are down as well, which makes sense. There are more complicated examples, but yeah, anyway. And if you have nobody driving the project, people will tend to quickly forget about that and resort to doing things the old way. So make sure there is somebody driving the project and continuously pushing people towards the improvement. And the process might look like this. So after triaging, you want to create tasks, distribute those tasks across the team, and control the execution until the next team meeting. This is a good exercise for leadership skills as well. And yeah, software engineering is about having fun. So make sure you are enjoying what you're doing, but by doing it the right way. So have metrics and focus on process rather than the end goal, because there is no end goal. And seeing graphs like that by the end of the year is nice. And yeah, last thing to consider is automating yourself out of the job. Some tips how to do that are on the slide. In one of the teams I worked at, we implemented a Python framework to basically create the alerts. So if you have many services, there is a good chance many of them share a common set of indicators. So you can define them in a single place and then reuse them for each individual project. And yeah, this brings me to the end of my talk. Of course, I tried to squeeze the most important things here. But yeah, anyway, there will be soon available a more detailed article on my Twitter account, so follow me there. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be around. Thank you.